So today I'm going to be covering my top 5 best MP5 class setups. Whether you're an aggressive, stealth, you like to play reserved, or you simply like to play Warzone, I pretty much have a class setup for any kind of playstyle out there. If you guys do end up enjoying this video, consider leaving a like. That way I know that this is the content that you want to continue to see, as well as request what are the weapons in the game that you want me to cover for my next top 5 video. All right, so let's just get straight into it. We're going to start off with the stealth MP5 best class setup. For my barrel, this one's going to be the most important attachment. We're running with the monolithic integral suppressor. This one's going to give us that sound suppression as well as bullet velocity. Sound suppression is very important in staying stealthy as possible, because when you fire your weapon, you do not want the enemies to know where your location is on the enemy compass. The added bonus of bullet velocity with this attachment is also what makes this attachment superior. It allows you to hit your shots a lot more consistently, especially from long range. Now, some of you guys might argue that the subsonic integral suppressor is actually the better attachment for staying as stealthy as possible. Yes, all the pros that this attachment does come with is very enticing, but it has a con of bullet velocity. The shots just don't seem to hit as effectively. Try it yourself in a private match, switch between the two attachments, and you will definitely notice the difference is night and day. Before we move on to the stock attachment, I do want to clarify that this stealth MP5 class setup is designed for those medium to long range engagements. You know, we're going to be flanking around the map, and when you flank, you want to stick to the outskirts of the map. So with that said, you are going to be engaging in a lot of medium to long range gunfights, because you're basically going to be from the outside looking in and just picking people off from a distance. So that's why I'm going to be picking the Forge Tac ultralight stock. This one's going to help us with that aim walking movement speed, so that we're able to strafe left and right whenever we're engaging in a gunfight with those enemies, and they're going to have a harder time to lock onto you and get their shots on you. Moving on to the rear grip, we're running with the stippled grip tape. This one's going to give us that aim down sight speed as well as sprint to fire speed, and this will allow us to pull up our gun a lot faster and fire after sprinting, just in case we come up against enemies that come out of nowhere. This one's going to be extremely helpful for those close quarter combat situations. Now, for the ammunition, we are running with the 45 round magazine. This one's going to give us a lot more ammo to work with. Since we're playing at a distance here, it's important to have as much ammo as possible. In case your accuracy is not all that great, you do have more ammo to work with to be able to get your shots in. For the underbarrel, we're running with the Merc foregrip. This one's going to give us a 2-for-1. It's going to help us zero in on our opponents from long range, as well as a tighter hip spread accuracy for those close range engagements. For our first perk, we're going to be running with EOD. When you're flanking around the map, it's possible that enemies have claymores around the map that will definitely kill you. So having EOD is going to help you reduce damage, as well as protect you from C4s that get thrown at you. Now, for perk 2, we're going to be running with Ghost. This one is going to hide you from enemy UAVs, and this is going to be essential for staying as stealthy as possible. For perk 3, we're going to be running with Tracker. This one is very helpful, especially if you're a solo player, or you like to flank, or you like to stick to the outskirts of the map. When you flank, you're most likely going to find yourself behind the enemy lines. You're going to see a lot of footsteps that will lead you literally to the enemy, and it's going to lead to easy kills. Now, for the last component of this stealth class setup, you are going to want to run the Dead Silence Field upgrade. This one is going to allow you to keep your footsteps as silent as possible. Footsteps are just so easily heard in this game, so when you're flanking around the map, it kind of makes it impossible at times to flank your enemies because they already hear your footsteps. So popping on the Dead Silence at the most opportune times when you're in the enemy spawn or you're about to flank an enemy is the times that you want to do that, so that they don't hear your footsteps coming. All right, so moving on to my aggressive MP5 class setup. This is one of my favorite class setups when I'm playing on shipment, shoot house, or any kind of small map where it's really fast paced. For the stock, I'm running with the FTAC collapsible stock. It's going to increase that movement speed as well as aim down sight speed, and it does have a con of recoil control, but since we're using it on smaller maps, you want to make sure that your engagements are mostly from close to mid range, and you always want to make sure to close the gap between yourself and the enemy as much as possible, so you don't have to worry about that recoil control reduction. So moving on to the perk, we're going to be running with Fully Loaded. This one's going to give us as much ammo as we can possibly have when we're using this weapon, so that we don't have to worry about running out of ammo, especially when we're playing aggressive. We're most likely going to go against multiple enemies at a time, so having a lot of ammo is going to be very important. Moving on to our rear grip, we're going to be running with the stippled grip tape. Going along with the theme of playing aggressive, this is also going to be an essential attachment to this class setup. Now, for our ammunition, we're running with the 10mm auto 30 round magazine. This one's going to give us more damage as well as more range, and with this attachment, it's very important to keep your engagements up close and personal as much as you possibly can. This attachment was actually nerfed a couple months ago, where they did reduce the range, so the new range that you should be staying within is actually 25 meters, so that you're able to get that 4-shot kill. So that's why it's very important to stay as close as you possibly can to take advantage of this attachment right here. So with the underbarrel, we're going to be running with the Merc foregrip. This one's going to give us better recoil control from long range should we need to engage in those type of engagements, as well as better hipfire accuracy for close quarter combat. All right, so moving on to the perks, another essential aspect to this class setup. You have a lot of flexibility here in the perk 1 category. You can either run with EOD, kill chain, or quick fix. You know, it really just depends on what kind of player you are, how much confidence you have. If you really want to rush hard and play aggressive without really stopping, you can put on that quick fix perk, because it will literally heal you when you're getting shot in those gunfights and allow you to keep moving on without having to stop for a stim shot. Or you can run with the kill chain perk to stack your kill streaks. But for me personally, I like running with EOD because I don't like coming across those random claymores or having C4s thrown at me, and that's going to get me killed. That's why I like to run with EOD for that extra insurance. Now for perk 2, you're going to want to run with restock. This one's going to allow us to recharge our equipment over the course of 25 seconds. So this means we're going to have C4s and stim shots all throughout the match as long as we have this perk on. Or you can run with hardline and pair that up with perk 1 and use kill chain so that you can get your kill streaks that much faster. Now for perk 3, we're going to be running with shrapnel, so that way we're able to have 2 C4s and 2 stim shots throughout the course of the gameplay. All right, so moving on to my no recoil MP5 class setup, or you can also call this the balanced class setup. I really like this class setup because it literally has no recoil at all. So for the attachments, I'm running with the compensator for the muzzle, and for stock, we're running with that close quarter stocks to give us more aim down sight speed, since we are using attachments that do help with recoil. Whenever you use attachments that help with recoil, it automatically reduces that aim down sight speed, so you always have to keep that in mind. Now for our rear grip, we're running with that stippled grip tape, again to give us more aim down sight speed as well as that sprint to fire speed. Now for our ammunition, I'm running with the 45 round magazine to give us a lot more ammo to work with. Then for our underbarrel, we are running with the commando foregrip. Now the commando foregrip and the compensator is what is going to give you the best recoil reduction possible on the MP5, essentially giving it no recoil at all. And that's why I really recommend this class setup for those more reserved type of players. It really allows you to laser in on your opponents from long range. Now for perks, I do recommend the same perks as the stealth class setup. We're going to be running with EOD, Ghost, and Tracker. All right, now moving on to the 3-shot MP5 class setup. All right, so for the first attachment, I'm running with the monolithic suppressor. This one's going to give us that sound suppression as well as more damage range. Now for our perk, we're going to be running with that fully loaded perk. And for rear grip, we're going to be running with stippled grip tape. And for our ammunition, we are going to be running with the 10mm auto 30 round magazine. Remember, in my aggressive class setup, I did mention that it is a 4-shot kill up to that 25-meter range. So you also want to keep that in mind with this class setup, is that you do want to play up close and personal. But with this class setup, that makes it a 3-shot class setup, is that you have to put on that stopping power field upgrade. So whenever you do get the stopping power, pop it on right away so that your next engagement, you will get a 3-shot kill up to that 25-meter range. And for our underbarrel, we're going to be running with that Merc foregrip, again to control that recoil from long range, as well as more hipfire accuracy in close quarter combat situations. Now another important aspect to these perks is that for perk 1, you can run with EOD. Perk 2, again, you're going to put on Ghost. Now for perk 3, you're going to want to run with tune-up. This one is going to reduce that charge time of the field upgrade, and in this case, it's going to be stopping power, and this one's going to allow you to earn your stopping power as frequently as possible, and that's why it's very important to this specific class setup. Also keep in mind, you do want to use this class setup on smaller maps so that you can take full advantage of that 3-shot kill whenever you do get your stopping power. All right, so for the last and final class setup, this is my MP5 Warzone class setup. Pretty solid class setup in my opinion. For my first attachment, I'm running with a monolithic suppressor. You do want to stay as stealthy as possible in Warzone, so having monolithic suppressor is going to suppress your weapon when you're firing it, and enemies won't be able to locate your location, as well as increase that damage range, and that's also important since we're engaging in long-range gunfights in Warzone. For laser, we're running with that tac laser to help us with that aim down sight speed, and to be able to help us lock onto our targets with that green laser. It really does help you lock onto your targets with much more accuracy, because you do have that green laser as a guide of where you should be aiming your weapon. Now for our rear grip, we're going to be running with that stippled grip tape. And for ammunition, this one's important as well. You want to run with 45 round magazines so that you have as much ammo as you possibly can in your reserve. And in Warzone, you are going to be using a lot of your ammo, so having 45 round magazine is very important. Now for our underbarrel, we're also going to be running with the Merc foregrip. This one's extremely helpful for controlling that recoil from long distance, as well as that hipfire accuracy for those close quarter combat situations in Warzone. Now for my secondary, this is also optional, but I'm running with the RPG. This one's very very helpful for taking out vehicles or helicopters, or just simply shooting into buildings where you know enemies are camping, especially in those endgame situations. It just makes things a lot easier. Now for perks, this is also very important. You want to run with cold-blooded, and for perk 2, people are frequently calling in UAVs, so having on ghost will definitely give you one less thing to worry about, and it will keep you as stealthy as possible. Now for perk 3, we're running with amp so that we're able to use our rocket launcher a lot faster when we do swap it, as well as using our equipment a lot faster. Now for lethal, we're running with the C4. So for tactical, this one is optional. You can either run with stim shot, heartbeat sensor, or in this case, the stun grenade. This one will help you stun your opponents momentarily and allow you to rush in there and be able to take out your enemies a lot faster rather than having to worry about engaging in a long-range gunfight. Because since we're using the MP5 here, having this equipment here is going to be very helpful in helping you rush your opponents by reducing the distance between yourself and the enemies. So that about wraps it up for my top 5 MP5 best class setups. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and remember to leave a comment down below for what other weapons you want to see me cover in the future, and make sure you subscribe around here. Make it official today. Join Turbo Nation. I would really appreciate it if you guys would join me on this journey to 100,000 subscribers. All the support really means a lot to me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.